Hello everybody, welcome to our Arts College Facebook Live event, and what we're doing is we're actually speaking to one of our parents who attended our Discover How Art Psychology Can Reduce Your Child's Stress and Anxiety Without Wasting Time and Money. And it was a wonderful 2-day workshop that we did at the Hickstead Hotel in Bolney, West Sussex. The parents had so much strategies, tools, everything given to them, how to apply art psychology without thinking they have to do art, which was a wonderful experience. And also for those who were wanting to know what is art psychology, which is our new research that has just been recently accredited through OC in London. So here today I've got Libby joining me to give you some feedback from a parent's point of view, how art psychology has changed her and her child's life. Welcome, Libby. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. We're just going to do a few questions about what happened and how you found the workshop to be and all that kind of stuff. So the first question was, how was your situation before you actually attended the workshop?
I was uncertain on what was right, what was wrong, what I was doing right or wrong, and I needed a bit of guidance to see where I could improve things. I knew everything needs improving. Sometimes, and I just need to know what I could do to improve my son's situation, my situation, the way I viewed everything, and also for other people, give people other advice if I can help them.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Are you married? What is your current situation?
No, I'm single at the moment. I have a 7-year-old son who lives with me, who visits his dad at the weekends, and we have a good relationship. But I wanted to try and improve that as well and understand how that might affect him. That's really my biggest, not problem, but thing that I needed to understand most. But
okay,
yeah.
So how would you say your son's behavior was? What were you battling with? What support were you looking for? What had you tried before you had started the course?
I definitely think school I was battling with. He loves being at school, everything's great. He comes home, he wasn't particularly listening to me, and his behaviour was becoming not, I could just pick up it was changing, it was getting a little bit worse. It wasn't how I wanted him to be reacting to me. We were butting heads a bit and not understanding each other.
There was a bit of communication difference.
Communication, I just lost how to communicate it with him the way we used to. I think school getting harder, longer, it just became a bit of a battle, and I wasn't enjoying it like I should have been.
Were you feeling out of control as well?
Out of control, and I was getting more stressed within myself because he was more stressed, and then we stressed each other, and then he'd obviously then go off to his dad's and then come home in a completely different mood to how I left him, or he'd be overtired or overstimulated, and I just didn't know how to handle it.
So when you say, because obviously each parent tries the best, all that they can do, and I think a lot of parents think that they're going to be criticised or ridiculed for doing things. What would you say was his behaviour when you say kicking off? Was it just he was moody? Would he not want to do things? Would you have problems with bedtimes, or little big things that would actually get to you in that you'd want to snap and be tired of?
Yeah, it was being grouchy for no reason. It's not like there was a reason for it. I'd struggle with him listening to what I was asking him to do. Repeating, not listening. Maybe pushing boundaries, he didn't want to listen. Bedtime was a bit of a struggle. I think he was overtired, and then I just couldn't get him to do things that I thought were really simple that he used to completely.
And did you think that this behaviour was normal before you did our course?
Yeah, I think I just thought that's just how it is, and he's just getting older and it's just going to get harder, and I'd sort of just resigned to it and
just accepted it.
Hoped he'd come out of it on his own, which now I know it isn't.
And how long did this last for?
How do you mean?
How long had you been going through this before you'd actually said, right, I need to do something about this?
It's been going, I'd say, for the last... Since he started school, I guess it became a little bit harder. when school was fun for him, he had more energy. I think it would just completely change maybe a year ago when he started year 1, and it was intense at school, and he was coming home and I could see he was overtired and things like that. But over the last maybe three months or so, it's come to the point where I thought there's got to be something that I can do to help.
Because he just wasn't happy, and
No.
well, I mean, obviously he's got a normal childhood, which every child is happy. But if it gets to a point where you are getting frustrated and you're thinking that it's going to just pass over, that's when you started to make a change. Okay, so what did you learn on the course that was relevant to you as a parent?
I learned what he needs. It sounds really, I thought I should know what he needs. And I do know the basics and things like that, but deeper than that, what he really is looking for from me, from his dad, how my actions affect him, and simple things that I could do, but I just didn't think anything that simple would fix it or help it.
And emotional development?
Emotional development with him or myself, or just knowing that how things that I've been through, and understanding that more and why and how it's happened, and how I've been putting things onto him which I just wasn't aware of. Obviously not intentionally, but being aware of it has really helped me to change my attitude towards everything.
And did you, I mean, when you were on the course, did you feel you were a bad parent?
No, I didn't think I was a bad parent. I just knew that I just wanted to better my approach, that was all. And I knew that I could. And I think I just felt maybe a bit guilty from certain situations that have happened that he's had to go through as a result, breaking up with his dad and things like that. And I think I needed to know that regardless of my situation, we can make it a good situation, and it can be absolutely fine.
Turn it around quickly. So did you, through the course, start lifting your guilt and not feel guilty anymore, and actually start treating yourself a bit better, and realize that you are human at the end of the day, and that you can turn the situation around? Completely.
It completely changed my way of thinking about myself as myself, but as a mum as well, and how everything's happened, but how to use it to make a more positive change. I can actually use that information, and I feel okay because I'm making the change, and I've made that step to understand everything more. It's hard, but it's helping, definitely, and it's working.
So when you were given like the history, which a lot of specialists don't really actually give parents, you were actually given the history to understand why your child does what they do, how they think, how they act, why they do it, all of that. Did you feel empowered as a parent?
Definitely.
Knowing more?
I could take control. There's some things that I can do. Knowing everything makes sense. When what I learned on the course, it all made sense. And it was so simple once you realise just what you need to do and how you need to think. Changes you can do so easily. Put it all together and you've just got a completely different situation.
Okay, and it's wonderful hearing, because how old is your son?
He's 7.
7. So especially from your point of view, that really helps a lot. And so when you had learnt everything on the course, when did you start applying the techniques, and how quickly did things change after you'd applied the techniques?
I'd say that the very next day, finished course on Sunday. On the Monday, came home from school, I completely changed what we normally do. I took what I learnt, went and took him to the park, let him completely express himself and just have fun. He's been cooped up all day. He went out. It was amazing. I came home and it was just like something clicked. That day, the next day, we were calmer. He was listening to me. It was like he knew I understood him. It was just strange. We just completely came out of the little turmoil we were in.
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately. And we understood. And he listened to me, went to bed. And I also, there was a bigger picture with my family and influences they were having on him. And over the last few weeks, I've been taking him out of those situations, putting things in place to make sure he's understood and he's not feeling certain ways. And we just have this completely different relationship now.
So you understand your son more, he understands you, but you're listening, you knowing what to listen for,
yeah,
and how to change that quickly.
Yeah, and he knows now that I'm listening, and he knows he can rely on me to make everything better. And he's telling me more, he's speaking to me more about things that are worrying him or things that he's not happy with, which is great, which is what I wanted completely from the beginning.
So how long has it been since you have done the course? How long has it been?
It's been 3-4 weeks.
3-4 weeks. And has his behaviour, because a lot of parents ask the question, well, what if I apply these techniques and then it's like a phase, so it's like a quick rush of happiness and then it goes back to the old behaviour, which a lot of parents do experience when they go to certain places. What would you say to that answer?
No, nothing's changing. It's only improved, and it keeps improving, because the more I want to know about everything, the more I can help him, and it just gets better. And there's so many more things that I want to put these changes in place with, which I know will only help him. But no, he's not gone back or anything like that. It's just a breakthrough. We just know what each other needs now, and I know what he needs, and I know what he's expecting from me, what I need to do for him.
So if anything did happen or come or surface at the time, you would know, you would feel confident enough to know what you need to change to help him relax?
Yeah, I could step out of the situation, analyse it, realise what deeper was going on, what things that I wouldn't normally have thought of, but now I can really understand him and know what he needs.
Okay, so what would you have a message for parents out there? How would you describe how this course can help you? Because you said you've been interested in the online parent course, which is to how to apply art psychology theory into your home, but without having to do art. Because we did some art on the course, but you didn't have to do art.
No.
What would your feedback be to parents, and what message could you give them?
I'd obviously say do the course. I think knowledge is power. You need to know all these different things that you can do. It's so simple once you go, and it's something you go to and you just want to know more. And I just keep wanting to better my life, his life, everyone's life, because it's just a happier. And this course was so helpful because there were so many things, different things that you learn. Example, play techniques with him that I'd say I wish that I knew some of them earlier, but I'm not saying I'm beating myself up over it. I just know that I need to apply them now, and I adapt them to his age. That was really helpful, knowing how I could adapt them. And it's not too late to turn anything around, ever.
And do you feel, I mean, although you've done the course, that the staff at Arts College have supported you through the changes? So, for instance, when you've had situations surface, you've asked a question and it's been answered on how to solve it to your son's personality and your personal home life.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the staff understands me and my situation and take time out to know the ins and outs, and just understand my relationship, and then offer advice on things that I'm not sure which direction I should go in. But I think it's just me doubting myself. I think it's reassurance, because now I know how I should be dealing with things. But yeah, they help me 100%.
And you work with young children, so have you applied the techniques to younger children? You said you work with a child who's about 18 months.
Yeah.
And how have you found that has improved your working relationship with children?
It's completely fascinating, especially children that young. It just shows when you implement it how just a different approach, and how important it is to understand what they need. And I know when I take the 18-month-old I look after out, everybody comments on how well behaved she is and how calm and happy, and I know it's just from complete balance and having all that information and using it.
Well, I know I said this, but I really want to hit on this point, because a lot of people assume, especially when babies are young, that they just cry, they just do things. But please tell the story about the hospital. I just think it's really important to understand how far this can really happen when you apply art psychology theory with into a home environment. Can you? Apparently, this little girl had fractured her elbow.
She had fractured her elbow and had a cast on for about 4 weeks. You wouldn't have known, carried on as normal for those 4 weeks anyway.
She wasn't extra groggy, or as children get.
Carried on, adapted to using her other hand for absolutely everything. No grumbles, crying, stress. It was absolutely fine. That was one thing. But it came to having it removed. And my son had broken his arm before, and I thought, I knew what was coming. It was stressful for me and him.
How was it stressful? What happened?
He was just scared of it, I think, happening. It was slightly different. He didn't have any wires to be taken out or anything, but you have to have the cast sawn off. And he screamed, he cried, he didn't understand what was happening, he thought it was going to be painful, and everyone had built this whole situation, and it was just horrible. And
as any mother would
seeing him go through it, it was just horrible. And I didn't have the tools then to cope now and stay calm. I just thought, it's going to be tough. I haven't experienced it, I don't know. Yeah. But it came to taking her to take off her cast, and everyone was just in shock. The nurses, the doctors, they said, look, she's going to really kick off. It's going to be upsetting for her. Be ready for her to cry. We just have to go through it. Sawed her cast off. Took a good 5 minutes. Nothing. She sat there and she watched it. She took it in. She understood it, and it talked to her calmly through the whole thing.
And you were obviously you were with one of the parents at the time as well.
Yeah.
So it can be quite stressful from a parent's point of view.
Yeah.
And you were helping the parents to understand the art psychology side of theory to balance the brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everything was just that was one thing, taking the cast off, and then it came to pulling the wires out. Obviously, the doctors and the nurses said, look, normally we put them under general anaesthetic because parents prefer that, because it can be painful.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, I think it's not like that. And her dad obviously decided, no, it's fine, we'll go ahead.
Because they were explaining it wouldn't be painful when it came out. But,
yep.
Okay.
It wouldn't be painful. It's just pressure, but it's the children that have anxiety and stress and think it's going to hurt. But no, none of that. These big, and they were big wires.
How big were they?
They were long and they were thick.
Yeah.
They're not sort of hair. They're just proper wires. She had two, one on the top, one on the bottom. They pulled the first one out the top, and she just stared and watched it come out.
She didn't scream, nothing?
No screaming, no. She's completely calm. Oh. And the nurses said they've never had a child not cry or...
Wow.
And then I thought, maybe after the first one she might know what was coming, but it just didn't faze her. The second one came out, and she's been absolutely fine since. Not.
And you made a comment when you got in the car about a couple of but half an hour later, or
half an hour later she had a delayed reaction. She was in the back of the car, and suddenly just heard a ow, as if she'd just gone, that should have hurt.
There was some pain,
and it was pain, but she completely dealt with it. She had managed her own emotions, and she wasn't stressed from other people. And it just goes to show how everything is just can build up and completely blow things out of proportion when you don't know how or why.
Yes. So, I mean, because one of the doctors had commented that, oh, well, maybe that's just a baby, that they don't understand pain. And do you agree with that statement? Do you think because she'd had art psychology applied, because obviously we keep saying art psychology, but it's the theory behind it, that's why she was calm?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's about balance and a child's approach to these sort of situations.
So how to cope with the situation and be confident, how to ask for help or know that they need in that particular situation.
She knew she had everything she needed. She understands now that she had a dad there, she had him, she knew he was there, she knew she could manage her own emotions, and it was just a completely different situation. She didn't take on board anybody's stress because we remained calm.
Oh, so when you say you remained calm, do you think then, because you've been applying art psychology and the father had been applying art psychology, you guys knew how to remain calm, work with your stuff so it wouldn't obviously rub off onto the little girl?
Yeah,
so,
it's all about not putting your own fears or anxieties, and she's learning that. She knows her stuff is her stuff, but it just didn't come into it at all. It was amazing. It really was.
Wow, wonderful. Well, thanks, Libby. I mean, that's really wonderful for you to feed back. Is there anything else you'd like to say or anything before we close our...
I'm just glad that I've started this journey, and I really feel like I've come a really long way because everything's changing. And
how have you changed personally? Do you feel more confident in yourself?
I'm so much more confident.
Do you question your parenting now?
No. I know I'm making the changes. I'm doing everything I need to be doing. And I'm putting myself and my son first in all areas.
And do you feel you get to rest more now that you can actually have more time out for yourself? You are not as tired anymore because you've applied these techniques. You can have more me time and you can have more sleep.
Yeah, I'm happier in myself. I know everything's changing for the better. Everything at home's calmer. It's an enjoyable experience, whereas before it was a bit... I was anxious all the time. I didn't know how to... I know now if something comes up, I'm going to deal with it. And I'm going to make it better. And it does work. And I'm not worried about things happening anymore. And it's just a calmer environment for everyone now.
And especially for you being a single parent, because when you have two parents who live in the same household, it always is a lot easier because you can just pass a child over. So as a single parent,
it's so important.
You've got now more. Well, obviously, you feel in control, but you're not controlling your child because you understand them. And a lot of parents say, well, which is understandable. It is a very difficult job to be a single parent. How do you feel now being a single parent?
I think, of course, it can be really hard, but it doesn't need to be. You don't need to have two parents there. I know I can change it so that we're both happy in this situation, and it's just easy now.
And I mean, what about if you wanted to introduce another man into your life? What would you be concerned about, and how would you handle it based on the skills you've learnt now?
It's tough. I think I'd look at it completely different now. I think I know I will handle it in the correct way. I know how it could affect my son.
Correct way for you.
Yeah, and I know the communication is so much better now. So I know we can talk, and I know how important my time is with him, and I know him better, and I know that we'll get through it together. It's not something obviously I'm hoping to happen anytime soon. I'm enjoying where we are now. Yeah. 100%. But as time changes, we'll adapt, and I'm confident with how I'll handle it.
So let's say, for instance, if your child had been bullied at school, do you think now your son would have more tools to be able to, you'd be able to support him through that, and he would feel supported by you, and you'd know what to do?
Yeah, definitely. I know he will talk to me now. We've put things in place so that he can be more open, even without physically saying things. He can do certain things that I know there's a problem, and that's really great. And I can approach him, which sometimes he finds more helpful. But he's open with me now. He knows he can trust me with the information, and I'll fix it in a way that he's happy with.
So that he won't, because a lot of children say, you know, Mommy, this is going on, but please don't say anything.
Yeah.
And I think that puts a lot of stress on children.
And he has done that with me in the past, and I think he closed up because of it.
Yeah.
But it's about changing. He's seen that I've changed, and we do things together, we work together, and yeah, he can trust me, and he comes to me more with things. And I know if something was happening at school, he talks to me and be open.
So do you now feel confident that you don't worry when your child leaves the door, that he would have tools and skills to be able to feel confident to help himself, that as and when he grows through his development years, he would feel confident in himself as a child, and he'd be happy, which is what you want for him at the end of the day? Would you feel confident in that?
Yeah, and I'm only going to build on that, and I feel like he'll get more and more confident over time. We're learning new skills through these courses and things like that can help us, and I want him to have his way of dealing with things and know that he's more than capable and feel confident in himself. It's so important.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad your son's obviously completely changed. I mean, so this is obviously for Libby, where, you know, we're talking to a parent who has a normal household and a normal you know, what parents go through as far as not an extreme difficult background, but there are still challenges being a parent who's got to raise a child. So the course can help parents who've got a normal home environment, or, well, I mean, what is normal though? That's the difference, because there's so many different experiences, but it's how do you cope with those experiences, and how do they change, how do they add to your life. So obviously the course can help parents who've got unfortunate and extreme events and experiences, as well as people who just are experiencing normal day-to-day life.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. It's clear on the courses that no matter what your situation is, the principles are the same, and they will work regardless. They're children, and they work in a certain way, and it's understanding children, and it's turning things around, and it's not too late to change.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much, Libby. So yes, thanks to everybody for watching, and obviously